You're watching the legal breakdown. So we've got some major news here at Donald Trump's jury intimidation is already backfiring on him at trial. But first, just a reminder to those viewers watching right now, that Glenn and I will be doing comprehensive coverage of the entirety of Trump's trial. So if you want to follow along with daily updates, please make sure to subscribe. The link's right here on the screen. It's also in the post description of this video. Okay, so Glenn, a jury member, who was already selected and sworn in, bailed today because she was worried about her identity being leaked. This immediately after Trump had taken a True Social and accused the jury of being liberal activists who are just, figuring out a way to get on the jury so that they could rule against him. Is this jury intimidation by Trump, and is it yet another violation of his gag order? We will know soon enough, because that will be a decision for Judge Mershon to make. But right now, Brian, the magic number is 7. There are 7 contempt allegations that the prosecutors have offered to Judge Mershon, and said, he needs to be punished, he needs to be sanctioned because no less than 7 times, and I think they were being generous, there, he has violated the court's gag order by saying something, or posting something about witnesses, or about jurors that he shouldn't be saying or posting. So on Tuesday morning judgment, Sean is going to take up what I think is a hugely consequential motion. The prosecutors seeking to hold Donald Trump, or have the judge hold Donald Trump in criminal contempt. Donald Trump has got a lot of firsts under his belt. First former president, indicted in state court. First former president, indicted in federal court. First former president, to be held in civil contempt multiple times in his New York fraud trial. And I think he's on the verge of being the first former president to be held in criminal contempt. The question becomes, assuming Judge Mershon holds him in criminal contempt, and I believe he will, what's the sanction? What I can tell you, Brian, is it's not that unusual for defendants to violate court orders. What ordinarily happens is, the judge on the first violation will give the defendant a stern talking to and say, do it again, you're going to be fine. If they do it again, they are fined, and almost every time during that second contempt hearing, the judge will say, do it a third time, you're in jail. And that's, I think we are already past the stern warning part, because Donald Trump has been sternly warned over and over again, and he keeps violating Judge Mershon's gag order. So I think what we're going to see on Tuesday morning is Donald Trump being held in multiple counts of criminal contempt, sanctioned, probably to the maximum $1,000 per violation. But the other sanction is up to 30 days in jail for each violation of a court order. I think you're going to hear Judge Mershon say on Tuesday, one more time, Defendant Trump, I'm ordering you into a jail cell. At least, I hope he puts Donald Trump on that kind of direct notice, and I think there's a very good chance that, as this trial progresses, we're going to see Donald Trump go from a free man to an incarcerated defendant. Glenn, I have healing that Donald Trump views everything that's happening before the show cause hearing on Tuesday as strike 2. So it's just he keeps committing these violations. It's strike 2, strike 2, strike 2, strike 2, knowing that until he gets that final warning from Judge Mentally saying that this is it. That was strike 1. That was strike 2. Next time you do it, you're going to jail for 30 days. Why wouldn't Judge Mershon just move up that show cause hearing basically from Tuesday up to today, so that he doesn't get this long runway to commit these violations, on an exponential basis until the hearing actually happens? Great question, and I really do think it's because of the New York state law. There are 2 kinds of contempt. There is contempt that happens in the presence of the court. The judge sees it, Donald Trump says, or does something that violates a court order, and then it's like in the movies. The judge bangs the gavel and can summarily hold the defendant in contempt right then and there, and can issue a sanction up to and including 30 days in jail. However, if the contempt does not occur in the presence of the judge in the courtroom, then the New York law provides you have to be given notice that there will be a hearing on the contempt charge, and you have to be given an opportunity to defend yourself. That is why I believe Judge Mershon set it off for about a week from when the first request came in from the prosecutors. Now, of course, Donald Trump is just racking up additional contempt charges. As I say, we're up to 7 right now, but I think that's why Judge Mershon is sticking with that Tuesday content hearing date, because under the laws of New York, the defendant is entitled to notice and an opportunity to defend, And when you say notice, does that mean that he needs a certain amount of time to be able to prepare? Because otherwise I would ask, like, how does the judge not see the danger in allowing Donald Trump the full weekend to keep racking up these violations, knowing that it's all going to be chalked up to, just a $1,000 fine each time before he's giving an actual warning about jail time, which would actually prevent him from doing any of this? Yeah, great question. The New York state law uses the word notice. It does not set a time frame or a deadline. So I think Judge Marchand assessed that, giving him about, 6 days, which was from the time the prosecutors first moved to have Donald Trump held in contempt, was appropriate notice, but he could very well have said, listen, we're going to carve out some time on Friday, and we're going to take this up, because you can't be trusted not to continue to violate my gag order over the weekend, or not to continue to say and do things that are intimidating jurors, which Judge Marchand ordered Donald Trump in open court not to intimidate jurors, because Donald Trump said or did something. It wasn't precisely reported what he said or did, but he did something that was directed at the jurors, and instantly, Judge Marchand said, I will not have your intimidation in my courtroom. So Judge Rashad perceived it as juror intimidation and put Donald Trump on notice, wouldn't stand for it. So if there is additional juror intimidation, those will probably constitute additional contempt charges. But are we likely, or is it still possible that we could see this show cause hearing moved up if Donald Trump does something that's so egregious that Judge Marchand recognizes, okay, if I give this guy another day, or minute, without the show cause hearing actually happening, then he can just cause too much damage. Possible, I would say not likely, but possible, depending on the nature of the intimidation, the harassment, the threats, because if we have jurors that are sort of concretely put in harm's way, and the judge gets wind of it, he could absolutely just move the contempt hearing up and saying, listen, you can't be trusted. We have to do this right now. Now, I mentioned at the top of this video that Donald Trump's efforts to violate this gag order does seem to be backfiring on him to a degree. So I want to turn your attention to a tweet from Kyle Griffin at MSNBC. Trump attorney Todd Blanche asked who the DA's office plans to call as their first 3 witnesses. Joshua Stein, Glass from the office, refused on the basis that Trump has been tweeting about them. Judgment. Sean said, he doesn't blame the DA's office. Blanche said that Trump won't tweet about the witnesses, to which Michon said Blanche can't promise that. Marchand refused to order the DA's office to name its first 3 witnesses. So again, this is already seeming to backfire on Donald Trump. What's your reaction to that? So yeah, let me tell you how we usually do business when we're in trial. As a courtesy, I will give the defense attorneys notice of, for example, if we call it our order of call, the order in which we're going to call our witnesses to the stand, I will give them the order of call for the next trial day as a courtesy. Well, because that way, they'll know what boxes to bring, what files to bring, and it does give them a little bit of time to prepare the cross-examination of those witnesses, but it typically makes the trial go a little bit more smoothly if the defense team is on notice of who the trial witnesses are for the following day. The prosecutors said, you're not getting a single name because you can't be trusted. What do you think Donald Trump would do if he had the names of the first 3 witnesses who are going to testify against him in his first trial? It would be non-stop character assassination on the entire Fox News rundown, on Daily Caller, on every single facet of right-wing media, to use Donald Trump's word. It would be a bloodbath. So not only did the prosecutors say, Judge, we're not going to do it, we're not going to endanger the witnesses like that. Judge Marchand said, I'm not going to order you to do it, because you have a. So the reality is Donald Trump's defense team will have to schlep every single box and witness file to the courtroom. Why? Because this is a problem of their clients making, because he can't be trusted not to violate the gag order, not to endanger the witnesses, if he knows these are the witnesses who are about to appear on the stand and give what is likely